You are tuned in to a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. Join us now on another exciting metaphysical journey. Relax, tune in, drop out, and take a seat by the fire as we explore new realms and possibilities. This is Magenta Pixie. You can find me at magentapixie.weebly.com. But now, here is Zany Mystic and guest. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, and welcome to a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. I'm your host, Lance White. Tonight, my guest is Sandra Walter. Sandra is an ascension guide, way shower, and dimensional liaison who assists awakened humans in the ascension process. Her service work includes inspiring articles about the shift in consciousness, the Ascension Integration YouTube channel, and a comprehensive Ascension eCourse. Sandra is the gatekeeper to 5D Gaia and lives in Mount Shasta, California. Her website is www.sandrawalter.com. So let's welcome Sandra to the show now. Hi, Sandra. How are you?
Oh, blessings, Lance. It's such an honor to be with you today. Thank you.
Oh, the honor is mine. I just wanted to thank you for all of your inspirational writings because they resonate so highly. And these days there isn't much that does, I have to admit. And so when I find somebody whose beingness and writing inspires me and lifts me up, I immediately try to get them on the show because that's something that I like to share with the world.
Beautiful. I'm so glad that the material resonates with you. Thank you. It's really an honor to be of service.
Yeah, same here. That's what we're doing.
Exactly.
I thought it might be kind of helpful to have us all hear just a little bit about your journey in spirit, which brought you here today, and then we'll jump into some of the things that I know you are anxious to share, as am I.
Absolutely. Well, just a brief overview. I've had 798 incarnations here and didn't wake up completely until 1999. And even though I stepped in 1965, I'm 47 now. But in 99, I went suddenly clairaudient. And this is after years of having very bizarre experiences and interaction with star brethren and spirits, and never really understood what was going on. And myself, like many other way showers and many other light servers, felt the journey was just too bizarre. Why is it so different from everyone else's experience? And then finally in 99, I started receiving daily messages about an upcoming event and an upcoming period of time when humanity was going to be going through a transformation to a different state of consciousness. And it was related to creativity in the beginning, and I trusted it. I actually recorded these messages every day, and everyone got to listen to them, and it turned into 3 years of worth of messages. And then the things that they talked about, and I say they, now knowing that it was my higher self.
Right.
But back in the day, I had no idea. I was, okay, just trusted it. I was like, this is beautiful, this is beautiful. And they were all very just rich with metaphor, very poetic, all about creativity, and they were lovely. And then the things that they talked about started coming true. So even though in 99 I was receiving messages about the towers falling and rebuilding humanity and, all of these prediction type of messages, and all of a sudden they started coming true. And I was like, okay, you've got my attention. And stepped away from everything and started writing and writing and writing, and went through, wavering in and out of being dedicated completely because I did not understand it. So I wrote an entire book called The Creator State that was all about creating a shift in consciousness before I even knew anything about the Mayan calendar or anything about the shift in consciousness, and then just happened to have the draft of that book complete when I ran into Barbara Marx Hubbard in Santa Barbara, where I was living at the time.
Oh.
And it was all about zero-point field, and she's like, you have to publish this thing. I'm all about the zero-point field. So I was like, oh, wow, this is, and it was at the premiere of her movie series, and I was like, wow, people are actually doing this. This is wild, because I had no idea. So I dedicated myself to getting the book out and kept writing and writing and writing, and I've had my website going for 13 years now.
Dude, wow.
And it's been it's gone through many different transformations, but all of a sudden everything started falling into place, and I started having stronger and stronger experiences, and decided, you know what, nothing else matters. Nothing else is as fascinating or amazing to me as being able to expand one's consciousness and experience all that is available. Mm-hmm. And it just kept getting stronger and stronger. I did my homework, I did my research, I started pulling all the pieces together, and then the first title that presented was Dimensional Liaison, and I was like, I don't even understand what that is. And then it was Ascension Guide, and I went with it. And at one point, I just kind of drew a line in the sand and said, you know what, I don't care if everybody thinks I'm completely out of my gourd. I'm going to go for it.
Right.
And then started challenging the boundaries. You know, way showing is all about stepping out of the box and telling people, showing people, look, it's okay on the other side. Look, you can live without this, without that. All the things that keep people inside the box. You constantly bust through those barriers in order to prove that there is freedom. And
right.
it snowballed into this you get to create your own life, and it's freedom. And no matter what appears to be going on in the external, there is magnificence available right now, and I try to make it available for anybody that is exploring that, looking for that, wants that. And I started making very grounded, step by step, through the ascension process, and ended up creating an eCourse that is really guiding people through that process. And then it just keeps going. It keeps going. It's just amazing what the more walls you knock down, the more veils you lift. Technically, the veils are gone already. So we're just attuning our perception to what is real, what is the truth. And the more you command that, knowing that you are Creator incarnate, that's what human means. Hugh is God, God-man. Knowing that you are that and challenging that is the mastery journey. And I find the mastery journey absolutely fascinating. Because the challenges present, and you're like, got it, and you just keep going. And even when things get hard now, you have a much higher perspective on what's occurring, and it's almost like, okay, give me more, what do you got? I want to learn everything that I am, and it really starts to feel like that true answer to Source's question of, let me know everything that I am. And you start feeling it and sharing it right back to Source, which is you. It's an incredible journey.
Now, Sandra, did you experience anything similar to what many people experienced in our limited, or let's just say in our expectations about timing of this ascension process? And some of our expectations included a more dramatic shift in 2012 or even October 2011, according to some. Carl Kalleman is one that said that the Mayan calendar ended in 2011, or I think it was October of 2012, and then so many people hung their hats on December of 2012, of course, because of the numerous alignments and the ending of the Mayan calendar. What has been your experience of the timing of these things, and what have you recently discovered is the most likely ascension path that is going to be unfolding on the planet now.
Yeah, and ascension isn't one moment. It is a process, and it appears to be the obsession of the universe. It's like it seems like every dimension, every level, you are constantly in pursuit of more expansion, more knowledge, more knowing all that you are. We have a very unique experience with the human genome because we get to incorporate all that sources in our experience. But I resonated with what Carl Kalaman said. I actually met him here in Mount Shasta. I actually resonated with his October 2011 date, because right after that, with the 11:11, is when that Christed light came in that was so powerful that it started busting apart everything that was not true. And people just collapsed after that. And a lot of way-showers had a very rough December and January. There was a lot of clearing going on in the beginning of 2012. And then it seemed to really lay out in this linear fashion of month by month, this is what's happening, and then we had a Venus transit, and then you have the solstice, and then you have, it was like one thing after the other kept unfolding another level, another layer. And when we got to what I call the Ascension Gateway, the fall equinox through the spring equinox, there it looks like a vortex to me, and that's like two cones coming together. And the tightest squeeze of the vortex is right there at solstice. And a vortex is an area where we have all these things going on. We have the collapse of the astral plane. We have the magnetosphere thinning, and it pulls fourth and fifth dimension really close together. And that's where we get the dispelling of illusion. And it was also an opportunity for Gaia to create what has already been created in a future timeline. It is inevitable. And there's something that I talk about in my course is there's a whole group of folks that have decided in the future that was a good idea. Wow, Gaia going to 5D, bursting into a spiritual sun, a star. Amazing. Yes, I'll do it. And you go back and incarnate along that timeline in all the density, in all the absolute spiritual amnesia, and start slowly awakening. And then all of a sudden you remember, oh my gosh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and start participating and assisting her. And that's why a lot of way showers or light servers, it feels like remembering the journey. It feels like, that happens. This is when that happens. And it starts attuning your perception, and then you can start playing with the timeline a little bit. But the squeeze of that vortex, that ascension gateway, allowed for a birth, because at the middle of that vortex is the sacred geometry of the Vesica Pisces. It's a gateway. And she's able to splinter into, technically she did the split back in 2011, but she was able to ascend that higher fifth dimensional structure, and then at through this gateway, now all of those energies are coming in. We have interdimensional portals, little holes poking through the veil. Some people are perceiving these as like little blue stars. It looks like a star map when you close your eyes. And there's these little interdimensional gateways opening up that allow in this pure photonic magnetic light. Now, we've been going into the photon belt for a while, but this stuff is potent, and it started hitting us full blast on the new moon last Monday. And this is the energy that takes us out of this vortex and into this splintering of realities where we have our creator incarnate status available to us with the backing of some really supreme light. And photonic light is all about order. It's quite resolute and purposeful. It's not judgment. It creates self-judgment. It's working with the dynamics of 0 point time that started in December as well. And now we're the gap between our thought and what manifests in our external is getting shorter and shorter and shorter, to the point where the mirror is so big you really can't see anything else. And I do think that's what the whole Judgment Day metaphor is about. It's self-Judgment Day. It's the dynamics of 0 point and the photonic light influence of commanding order, balance, harmony that creates a dynamic where you see everything that is out of balance within. And then you realize that in order to change the external reality, you have to change the stuff within. Mm-hmm. I do feel that a lot of people are going to have a hard time with that. That's the whole awakening, and trying to assist people through that and understand that the structures we've been working with, the lower level stuff, ego, mind, emotion, not us at all. Just entities, structures, constructs that we dealt with in order to play the game, experience the platform of 3D. And now that it's changing, those structures aren't needed anymore. And when you start, all of a sudden the frequency of the planet is going up. You start waking up. If your DNA is open enough, if there hasn't been too much damage, you start waking up and realizing. Some people just focusing on like the conspiracy aspects. Some people focusing on something is wrong or getting very emotional, or some people having full blown awakening where it does turn into a spiritual journey as well. But all of those energies are forcing the change.
bbsradio.com. If it's not mainstream, it could be here. Information and knowledge, bringing humanity closer to truth and love. bbsradio.com.
Okay, so Sandra, we've got a better line connection now. So, would you continue with what you were talking about before we switch lines?
Sure. So this, oh goodness, can you hear that echo as well?
I can't, and
okay.
they'll adjust it at the station.
Okay, I'll try to ignore it. So the squeeze of this vortex and everything is creating these new experiences, and now we get to experience whatever we choose. And this is, we've always had free will. We've always had that, and we have the free will of the higher self and the free will of this lower expression working in tandem now to get it together. That's the whole symbol of the Merkaba, is the higher merging with the lower. And as we release the things that were not us, ego, mind, emotions, even realizing that the body consciousness is completely separate, and then taking it along for the journey as a partnership, all of these things start coming to light, and the journey becomes quite interesting, because we're starting to reunite with all of ourselves. And when we start realizing that the multidimensional consciousness that we are, existing in many places all at the same time, some participating in this journey and some not, our consciousness expands to the point where we start experiencing that fifth dimensional frequency, and it is just bandwidth, like tuning a radio. In my classes, I describe it like Russian nesting dolls. The little doll at the middle is us, and in order to experience the slightly bigger doll, you expand your consciousness to match the frequency. So the bigger dolls on the outside all experience the stuff that's smaller, but the smaller has a hard time experiencing the larger unless you expand your consciousness. And the way to expand your consciousness is to let go of the things that were limiting it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. What are some of the attributes of 5D? I know that there are octaves of energy that are within 5D. Mm-hmm. What are some of the attributes that people will know when they are expanded into that the 5D arena?
It feels it feels like freedom. I'm one of those lucky people that got to experience myself in different dimensions, and the fifth dimensional frequency. It feels, and specifically that new expression of Gaia. It's so the idea of no separation becomes so tangible because there is a flow and a unity with all that is. There is absolutely no barrier between what you're thinking and what manifests. And that takes a lot of responsibility. I always say with instant manifestation comes responsibility. And there is a bit of spiritual maturity involved in that as well, because if you're going to interact with, a tree in the fifth dimension is an incredible being. Here it looks like, a stick coming out of the ground. This is something that is, it's conscious already, but your interaction with the kingdoms and the elementals becomes very magical.
Yes,
yes. Very beautiful, and that's something that you practice with here in order to, this is the training ground. So when you start getting intimate with consciousness, and consciousness is everything, it's that Krishna state where you are the wind blowing on your cheek, you are your cheek, you are the chair you're sitting on, you are the tree the chair is made of, you are all that is. And when you get into that state, there is a true honoring and unconditional love, which is the absence of judgment.
Yes.
The absence
and there's
of separation.
There's a feeling of loving everything that is living.
Everything. I am so in love with everything and everyone right now, and it seems like there's a personal tipping point where there is no going back. I just endured a personal, breakup with a boyfriend, and it was completely different from anything that I've ever encountered, because the love is still there.
Right,
and
right.
It's a completely different kind of love, and I told him, when we first met, I'm like, you can't screw it up. I'm going to love you no matter what. I'm in love with everything, and it makes everything flow. Because there is no judgment on others' behavior. Let them have their journey.
Right.
When we move into triality and that fifth dimensional state there's no duality. There's triality. There's highest interests of all concerned, not in the highest interests of all concerned, or a big area of none owe my business, where it's just completely neutral, has nothing to do with my journey. And when you start applying that in the here and now, you see that we participate in a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with us. We're pulled and trained into make up your mind, is it good or bad? Make up your mind, does it resonate or not? Make up your mind, is it light or dark? And when you step away from that completely, that's where the power comes back for not only your own choices, but I think as a society, as a collective, we start looking at not in the highest interest of all concerned, but because we don't have the judgment on it, the harsh judgment of duality of we have to fight it, you end up dissolving things by saying, hey brother, not so much. Let's do something else. We'd like to create something else. You need to stop. And it's not
right.
That doesn't come with punishment or payback. The idea of retribution doesn't exist. It's like, look, we're going to do something else, okay? And if you don't want to participate in that, we're going to do it anyway. So you're out of a job. that kind of attitude, and it becomes much more freeing. And this is something that we all can engage with now, where instead of engaging in the war and the conflict, personal life, global life, whatever, walk away from it and say thank you, but no thank you. And it's always with, I honor what you got going on. I just don't want to participate. And the more of us that step into our power and come at it with that love, it dissolves the conflict completely. And then we don't have to be stuck in this, the never-ending loop, the snake eating its own tail. It's not infinity, it's stagnation. There is no solution. There's no way out of that. So when you start branching out into triality, you realize that there are a lot more solutions than we have problems.
Now, do you feel that given the nature of the world today with so much emphasis on duality and keeping us fragmented and fighting with each other, and with so many control systems being run by the elite, or Illuminati if you want to call it, that we are going to be able to snap out of this dream that we're in? People are motivated by massive games and entertainment and wars and the global condition.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that there's a lot of pressure to hold that stagnating force in place. Do you see that starting to change, or do you see the possibility of people, of centers of light starting to create areas of magnetic attraction that
Mm-hmm.
will find the right people and gradually become a force on the planet as we transition?
Yeah, I see our journey being very similar to Gaia's, and Gaia's being very similar to ours, where that fifth dimensional resonation is already there. We're just moving into it. Now, the faster all of us can, the people who are awake and experiencing 5D already, that unconditional love, the solar, cosmic Christ consciousness, where you're really in the heart, and it is unshakable. Just you do not waver anymore.
Mm.
Those folks, we have a responsibility now. This is, yes, we have to pay attention to our own journeys, but there is great power in us uniting, because it's pure physics. The higher vibration is going to absorb the lower vibration, and when we reach that tipping point, of course, it'll be inevitable. I do feel that the splintering of realities, that the folks that just for some reason want to participate in creating things that they don't like. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand it. Why would you do that? It's like, well, I have to. No, you don't. You're creator incarnate. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the more people that the awakened folks that stop participating in the problem and start creating the solutions,
mm-hmm.
Or walking away from that, the sooner they'll get to experience that fifth dimension as well. I do feel that there is absolute evidence and an absolute possibility that folks will walk through right to that fifth dimensional experience. I know that it has to be anchored in order to heal a lot of what is going on here, because mm-hmm. Gaia does not want to lose everybody.
Right.
And I feel like the consciousness that's running the 4D Earth that we're experiencing right now, which 4D is technically dream state. It's the astral. It's weird. That's where you get the strange experience of time. I was, you try to remember the day before, and you're like, I don't know, I was in the car, and then I was in the house. It's like a dream, and that strange dream-like state is, that's no place for divine human consciousness. that's all kinds of souls working out stuff. I don't feel like it's going to exist for that long. However, I feel like that expression of Gaia is like there's other people driving the bus right now. Good, light-filled, amazing consciousness saying, I'll volunteer and I'll play that role so that Gaia can move on and create this new thing. And I feel like that is what she's doing right now in order to follow that future creation of us being a spiritual sun. We could see the changes in our own sun already. That has to occur first. It's already gone quadrupolar. It's bringing in different light. We have these interdimensional portals opening up. This is not about amplifying a 4D experience. This is about a fifth-dimensional experience, a higher experience. And the whole universe is being rewritten. We're just the galaxy that's in the alignment right now. So this energy is just creating all this, how long our experience will be before everybody's on board. I actually don't think everybody will be on board. I feel like, hey, no man left behind. However, there's consciousness that has volunteered to be here right now that's never been here before.
Right.
Consciousness that's volunteered to play the bad guy or play the 1,000 people that drowned or whatever.
Right.
There are many different forms of consciousness on the planet right now. That's why it's so crowded.
No kidding.
Yeah, exactly. But the whole idea of dissolving the dark. I mean, I truly feel that the other races that were influencing humans for so long, just completely, out of their minds. I feel like they are out of here. And I love the fact that it is just humans that have gone way off track, because we can deal with that. That's not a problem. It's other humans believing that they actually have anything to do with their journey. That's the problem. It's like, a decree comes out of, you must pay taxes, and what if everyone says no? But there's so much fear that I understand that those people need that experience. But when you move into the unconditional state, there's no judgment on, well, that's wrong for you to work in a job you hate. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, if it makes you unhappy, let me help you create something else. And I feel that will be the responsibility of those folks who are stepping fully into that crystalline state, that solar state of all that is embodied in a body on a planet. And I think it's going to be a little freaky for those of us who are doing that. I think it's going to be freaky for the people who aren't doing it. I think it's going to be a little weird for a while. However, it's not going to be the same journey as the masters that came before us, because the density that they went through was incredible. We think it's, this is the darkest time. It's like, no, the dark ages actually were the darkest time. Nobody's tearing out, your guts in public anymore.
Right, or burning witches.
Or not week after week, let's say.
Right,
but
the Inquisition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all that stuff is being released now. Gaia is going through this, the Akashics being deleted, the karmic lattice work is gone. All that stuff is being released. And it's the folks that want to tether themselves to the past or what was correct yesterday. What if you wake up tomorrow and there is no Illuminati? Do you want to recreate the Illuminara day after day? I'm like, let it go. How about you rediscover what is available every single moment? Look for the love. Find the love in each moment, and you will create a reality that has no choice, creator incarnate. You have no, your reality is dominated by you. And no one else. No one has control over anyone else. That is a complete illusion. And when you walk away from it, and even if you have to, I teach this in my course, I'm like, test yourself little things to face the fear of, I'm going to get in trouble if I don't do this. This is what the way showers are going through. I mean, I don't have a home, a partner, and a steady income, health insurance, life insurance, all that stuff, you know,
Right.
and people will not step out of that box because they're terrified. What if? I'm like, well, if you want to create that, go ahead. But you don't have to. You can create vibrant health and freedom and know that you're entitled. It is your birthright to do whatever you want with your life stream. And it's just the pressure to conform is immense, and I understand that. But you have to test yourself. You have to, you know, get into your mastery and go, okay, I'm going to give myself a little challenge. I'm not going to do the exact same thing that I did yesterday. You know, I'm not going to look at the exact same websites. I'm not going to look at the exact same stories over and over again, because it does get into, it's madness, you know, even when it comes to following ascension and awakening information. I'm like, really? Do we still need, you know, all the same channels telling us the same thing? This is who you are. This is where you're going. This is what's happening.
Right.
It's like eventually people will stop reading about it and doing it. You know, that's why
Right.
I created the course. I'm like, this is not about watching the shift unfold online or watching a few people understand everything and then what they're going to pop out of your reality. And you're going to have to do it all over again, you know? So it's really time to step up the game, you know, and the end game to this whole galactic battle that's been going on here is self-love. It's right within you. When you start loving everything that you are with such a power, knowing who you are, it's not control, it's not an egoic thing. It is being that presence, not being present in the now, because that's all well and good, but it is being present, knowing who you are. And it doesn't matter if you can't remember what you came here to do or what star system you're from. Oh, who cares? We're from everywhere, all the time.
Right.
And we are in every moment in a million different places.
Yeah.
Let's just take that, you know, as truth. Okay, check. You know, got it. Woke up, check. Don't worry about what's my mission. You know, your first mission is to wake up. Congratulations. Now, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with it? And if you can't figure out what to do, spread love everywhere you go. Get out of the duality. Get out of the judgment. The judgment it's a program. You know, it's not even real. It is not reality. It's something that we used to play, and this is a shadow of an old reality. But, you know, duality doesn't even exist anymore. It's like, wow, we just keep recreating it. That's how powerful we are as creator incarnate. We recreate the same crap every day.
That's right.
As a collective. And
That's right.
Okay, eventually everyone will realize it's madness, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's how powerful we are. Like, wow, it doesn't even exist, and yet we create it.
Yes. One of the tools that helps me a lot is to use the idea of following my bliss and my joy and simply allow that which is not that to fall away. And it's kind of helpful for me to look at it like a river going with the flow. And when I'm in alignment with the moment, then everything flows, and the information is presented to us almost like a magic carpet ride. It's amazing what synchronicity will do to show you, like landing lights on the airplane runway, that, yes, I am in the right place at the right time. Okay, I got it. Perfect. I didn't think I was, and I am. You know, here's a light, and here's another light. And it's kind of tuning into those lights along the way and realizing that we're always in the right place at the right time. So all there is to do is to be authentic and to be present and see what the opportunity is that the universe is unfolding in front of our visual perceptual screens.
Yeah, exactly. And some people interpret, you know, being in the flow as doing nothing or surrender. You know, surrender doesn't mean giving up.
Right.
It means surrendering to the higher consciousness that you already are.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, giving up the lower stuff. Go, okay, you know, and it's retraining all of that lower stuff to say, sorry, we're not doing that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're going here. So there is a lot of conscious participation, and once you hit the flow, you're good. When you start getting off track, the higher self is incarnating right now. It's you can infuse your entire body with your higher self at this moment, and it's incredible. I got to experience my solar cosmic Christ itself a couple of days ago, and it's incredible. And my body, my body, I need to be put on like a stretching rack or something. It's like my energy fields expand, and then my body is like, I can't keep up. But it's and this is all part of the journey. The expansion of our consciousness is the body's coming with us. But the flow and the synchronicity is pretty incredible, and you can test it too. I've had such interplay with my star brethren through this whole thing, and I was trying to tie it together with the cosmic Christed thing, because I did not think that was going to be part of my journey at all, and it still kind of it blows my lower mind quite a few times when I'm like when it just unfolds right in front of me, and it's just undeniable. And that's we are moving into an intergalactic society, so it does make sense. But this cosmic state of being, that Krishna energy and that soul energy, is something that our higher levels and our star family, not one in particular. I have a connection with like 5 different races. And it's not one in particular, and you're coming back to, the home star, the home planet. No, I've already been there. This is all new, but it's like a cheering section now. It's like, yes, this is really happening, and started playing with, now that this solar activation, this is really fascinating to me. The heat within the chest and the symbols that present right after December 21st. Actually, it was right after Christmas. I connected with Galactic Center, and the symbol came flying out of Galactic Center right into my heart at such a fast rate that it stunned me, and I was like, wait a minute, what just happened? I don't feel like that was my free will. What happened? And it was this image of the solar cross, like a Maltese cross. And it's something actually that I painted a couple of years ago and did not understand, and it looked exactly like that. And it just came flying and like anchored right in my heart center, and it startled me because it was so intense. But now now that I've been working with it, I understand that is that solar cosmic Christed state that is coming online, and it feels like heat and expansion, light. Some people experiencing golden light. Our natural state of the human genome is that golden crystalline light. Some people seeing it more as a birth of the blue star, the metaphor of the blue kachina, returning, which I feel that's what's happening right now, this light that's coming in. There's an awful lot of synchronicities with blue light, blue star, and that metaphor of that blue silvery light. And I'm getting flashed at by light ships with that light right now, and it's I will project a gold beam and just shoot it out from my heart center, and immediately we'll get the flash back. So I'm like, okay, there's something going on here. We have much less interference with our communication with those levels of our consciousness, and it's beautiful. But this is available, and this is something that is so much more fascinating than what pope is elected next, and what's going to happen with the Jesuits, and what's happening with Rothschild or whatever. Who cares? I wish we could take our focus and just focus on the amazing instead of re-engaging with those fear constructs, because it's not real. That's not us. That's something that just feeds off of that energy. And the other stuff is so much more fascinating. And not only that, but when you don't have the judgment on it, and you're in that state of unconditional love, it's it's beautiful. It's a beautiful experience, and you're not being the discernment to know what is. It's like what George talks about with what is synthetic and what is organic. You can feel the difference. This is another part of the training is feeling energy and energy signatures and going, not so much. Okay, I'm not going to participate with that. Or oh wow, that's me. It feels like you. It feels like home, a source. There's an honor, a respect. It's not smothering you with love and light and everything, or trying to do anything to you. It feels so casual and so normal that it's beautiful to me. That I can be so calm. It's at first it freaked out the body vehicle. No doubt. My body just when beings start appearing or whatever, it's like whoa. The body just freaks out. But as and because I have a partnership now with my body, it's calming the body down. It's okay. It's just a Lemurian or whatever. It's just a Dhamma. It's okay. It's just a light ship. That's us. It's okay. And that kind of partnership. Now my body trusts the higher me to be in command of this experience, whereas before the body was listening to the mind and the subconscious that was just lying to it, just telling it, be afraid of this, be afraid of that, don't do this, don't do that, all kinds of stuff. Mm. And when you step out of that, it becomes so much more fun and so much more joyful. Of course there's going to be challenges. Of course there's going to be huge releases of all that you are not. And not only that, but collective release. When you're in partnership with Gaia on this journey, my dedication is to Gaia first, humanity second. And just, she's mom. That's I'm very dedicated to her. I think what she's doing is absolutely incredible, and I honor everything that she has been through and what she wants to become. And I'm like, yes, sister, I am there for you. And it's I understand that is my role of service, and service becomes such a no-brainer because it is all that is. You're like, of course, what can I do? And it's all this co-creation with the planetary consciousness, which is incredible to me, that we're able to experience that and assist in such a palpable way now that we get to go along on the journey with her and participate in that. It's just absolutely beautiful to me. And she remembers everything that you are. I mean, this is a true mom. People who are like, I don't remember where I came from or what it is. Like, you're here. Trust Gaia. Trust that she remembers everything that you are, and all you have to do is open up to it. And when the lower levels finally, get the hush, and your higher self starts, you give the go ahead. Okay, higher levels, take over, take command. Go ahead. I'm stepping out of the way, taking my hands off the wheel. You drive, and suddenly you become your true self. You have a connection with the body consciousness that is very different. You have a connection with the planet that's very intimate. That's very it's such a blessing to experience that level of honor and love, true unconditional love. And not only that, but learning the same lessons that Gaia has learned. Unconditional love does not mean laying down and taking everything that everybody wants to dump on my surface. All right, I'm never going to do that again. I'm going to create something else. And the people that want to continue to do that, you get to play with these sisters that have stepped in to play a 4D me, And she's stepped away from that. And when the releasing comes, when she's tearing away from that experience, a lot of way showers and light servers will feel like you're transmuting, this it's like the sadness after rage. The oh my God, that happened, and I will never do it again. Okay, but I need to have the good cry. I need to have the scream or whatever, or the ceremony, to get this out of my system once and for all. This is what Gaia is going through. This is what we're going through. It's and was very, very tangible last weekend, before the new moon. I was just, I go to the fountain, that's my space, bawling my eyes out, and I don't even know why. Just like, okay, whatever you need, and just, crying in my car. It's freezing up on Shasta right now. And I fogged up all the windows, and this is how strange my journey has become. I'm crying and just shuddering and everything. Okay, release. I crack open the door to take a breath of fresh air. I look up at the night sky, and one of the light ships goes right over and beams down on me, and I'm like, not now, guys! I'm having a moment, I mean, this is how synchronistic and beautiful the journey becomes, because you can still have a sense of perspective, not get swallowed up in the emotion of it, but understand, okay, this just has to happen right now. And you know what? Let go of the whole examining and processing every little thing for a year of what occurred. It's like you really just have to drop it. You really just have to feel it and let it go. Feel it, let it go.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, and it becomes beautiful because there's still the love. There's still the love there. And this intense frequency of photonic magnetic light that's coming in it blasts away everything that does not resonate. And
now, what can you share about the light ships? I know many people that I've talked to have expectations or hopes that our star brothers and sisters will be able to communicate with us more directly. And it seems that on such a barbaric planet that we're living on, until some of the at least some of the more obvious forms of barbarism are no longer prevailing, that it would be difficult for some kind of a positive interaction unless it's very limited and on an individual basis. There's so much that pertains to nuclear power and secret this and secret that and black operations and corporations and chemtrails and GMO food, and there's just so much going on that's designed to lower the frequency. How can we begin to make those connections, that will increase the frequency for the whole planet? Or is that something that's even likely to happen?
I think the interaction comes when your vibration goes up. That's the first experience is you being in that love, honor, respect already, because there appears to be a level of trust. This interaction has been going on for a while with me, and there's always been the message. I'm clairaudient and claircognizant, and the message has always been there is a level of trust involved. And I couldn't even talk about it for a while, because it's extremely uncomfortable for a higher dimensional being to come anywhere near this reality right now.
Yeah, right. It's toxic.
It's terrible. It's like being, thrown in the snake pit. You're like, whoa,
right.
What is going on? Or being covered in mud. Let's not use snakes. That's overused. It's like being stuck in the mud. You can't even see. It's just awful. So it's quite uncomfortable. But when you start embodying that higher state of consciousness, your energy field creates kind of a safe haven for interaction. I have yet to experience anything that, and I actually don't know if this is actually going to occur in this fourth dimensional experience, of anything of a higher frequency appearing as in a solid form. That just doesn't even make sense to me. I'm like, why would they do that? So there's certainly a lot of discernment that has to occur, especially as we move into this higher frequency light, because it's like I always compare the dark folks to, it's like cornering a wildcat. They're just going to thrash out at everything because it's terrifying to them to think that it's over. But when you know, and we're going up to the bully in the schoolyard who still thinks there's a fight and is swinging at everything. We're like, it's okay, the fight's over. Come on, we're going to get ice cream. Come on, no, it's safe, it's okay. Hey, you stole everyone's money, so ice cream's on you. But come on, you know, and you have to literally hold them as they cry and in despair over the fact that the game is over. So that level of compassion that we use in the higher realms has to be applied to this reality in order to dissolve it, because the platform for that experience, for that kind of control and manipulation is disappearing, and you can see it already. You know, I was shown this last summer where it's like the lowest, as the frequency of the planet goes up, the lower stuff gets taken out. And I was in tears on the mountain because I'm like, these are still our brothers. What do you mean taken out? It's like, look, they you know, enough. You had your choice, and now the stuff that you stand on is being taken out. So it like can't even be created. It can be co-created every day by people engaging with that kind of stuff. But when you walk away from that as a collective, when we walk away from it, it'll be fine. And this is where the splintering of realities goes. There'll be tribes of people, collectives of people that go, no more, and finally start proving
we're
to others.
Just about out of time, and we need to wrap it up here for the next show. Would you be willing to share your website with everybody so they can find you?
Absolutely. My website is SandraWalter.com, SandraWalter.com.
Wonderful. Well, Sandra, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Oh, it was a blast. Thank you so much, Lance.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Beautiful. I'm so glad that the material resonates with you. Thank you. It's really an honor to be of service.
Yeah, same here. That's what we're doing.
Exactly.
I thought it might be kind of helpful to have us all hear just a little bit about your journey in spirit, which brought you here today, and then we'll jump into some of the things that I know you are anxious to share, as am I.
Absolutely. Well, just a brief overview. I've had 798 incarnations here and didn't wake up completely until 1999. And even though I stepped in 1965, I'm 47 now. But in 99, I went suddenly clairaudient. And this is after years of having very bizarre experiences and interaction with star brethren and spirits, and never really understood what was going on. And myself, like many other way showers and many other light servers, felt the journey was just too bizarre. Why is it so different from everyone else's experience? And then finally in 99, I started receiving daily messages about an upcoming event and an upcoming period of time when humanity was going to be going through a transformation to a different state of consciousness. And it was related to creativity in the beginning, and I trusted it. I actually recorded these messages every day, and everyone got to listen to them, and it turned into 3 years of worth of messages.
You are tuned in to a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. Join us now on another exciting metaphysical journey. Relax, tune in, drop out, and take a seat by the fire as we explore new realms and possibilities. This is Magenta Pixie. You can find me at magentapixie.weebly.com. But now, here is Zany Mystic and guest. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, and welcome to a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. I'm your host, Lance White. Tonight, my guest is Sandra Walter. Sandra is an ascension guide, way shower, and dimensional liaison who assists awakened humans in the ascension process. Her service work includes inspiring articles about the shift in consciousness, the Ascension Integration YouTube channel, and a comprehensive Ascension eCourse. Sandra is the gatekeeper to 5D Gaia and lives in Mount Shasta, California. Her website is www.sandrawalter.com. So let's welcome Sandra to the show now. Hi, Sandra. How are you?
Oh, blessings, Lance. It's such an honor to be with you today. Thank you.
Oh, the honor is mine. I just wanted to thank you for all of your inspirational writings because they resonate so highly. And these days there isn't much that does, I have to admit. And so when I find somebody whose beingness and writing inspires me and lifts me up, I immediately try to get them on the show because that's something that I like to share with the world.
And then the things that they talked about, and I say they now knowing that it was my higher self.
Right.
But back in the day, I had no idea. I was, okay, just trusted it. I was like, this is beautiful, this is beautiful. And they were all very just rich with metaphor, very poetic, all about creativity, and they were lovely. And then the things that they talked about started coming true. So even though in 99 I was receiving messages about the towers falling and rebuilding humanity and, all of these prediction type of messages, and all of a sudden they started coming true. And I was like, okay, you've got my attention. And stepped away from everything and started writing and went through, wavering in and out of being dedicated completely because I did not understand it. So I wrote an entire book called The Creator State that was all about creating a shift in consciousness before I even knew anything about the Mayan calendar or anything about the shift in consciousness, and then just happened to have the draft of that book complete when I ran into Barbara Marx Hubbard in Santa Barbara, where I was living at the time.
Oh.
And it was all about zero-point field, and she's like, you have to publish this thing. I'm all about the zero-point field. So I was like, oh, wow, this is, and it was at the premiere of her movie series, and I was like, wow, people are actually doing this. This is wild, because I had no idea. So I dedicated myself to getting the book out and kept writing, and I've had my website going for 13 years now.
Dude, wow.
And it's been it's gone through many different transformations, but all of a sudden everything started falling into place, and I started having stronger and stronger experiences, and decided, you know what, nothing else matters. Nothing else is as fascinating or amazing to me as being able to expand one's consciousness and experience all that is available. Mm-hmm. And it just kept getting stronger and stronger. I did my homework, I did my research, I started pulling all the pieces together, and then the first title that presented was Dimensional Liaison, and I was like, I don't even understand what that is. And then it was Ascension Guide, and I went with it. And at one point, I just kind of drew a line in the sand and said, you know what, I don't care if everybody thinks I'm completely out of my gourd. I'm going to go for it.
Right.
And then started challenging the boundaries. Way showing is all about stepping out of the box and telling people, showing people, look, it's okay on the other side. Look, you can live without this, without that. All the things that keep people inside the box. You constantly bust through those barriers in order to prove that there is freedom. And
right.
it snowballed into this you get to create your own life, and it's freedom. And no matter what appears to be going on in the external, there is magnificence available right now, and I try to make it available for anybody that is exploring that, looking for that, wants that. And I started making very grounded, step-by-step, through the ascension process, and ended up creating an eCourse that is really guiding people through that process. And then it just keeps going. It keeps going. It's just amazing what the more walls you knock down, the more veils you lift. Technically, the veils are gone already. So we're just attuning our perception to what is real, what is the truth. And the more you command that, knowing that you are Creator incarnate, that's what human means. Hugh is God man. Knowing that you are that and challenging that is the mastery journey. And I find the mastery journey absolutely fascinating because the challenges present and you're like, got it. And you just keep going. And even when things get hard now, you have a much higher perspective on what's occurring. And it's almost like, okay, give me more. What do you got? I want to learn everything that I am. And it really starts to feel like that true answer to Source's question of, let me know everything that I am. And you start feeling it and sharing it right back to Source, which is you. It's an incredible journey.
Now, Sandra, did you experience anything similar to what many people experienced in our limited or let's just say in our expectations